Isothermal Community College celebrates its 50th anniversary this October. A half-century ago, the citizens of Rutherford County cast a vote for the region's future. In September of 1964, they voted by a margin of nearly 18-1 for a bond issue to build Isothermal's first buildings. The vote made Rutherford County the sixth in the state to approve public financing for a community college. Those funds were matched by the state of North Carolina, and the initial capital funding for Isothermal Community College was in place. On October 1st, the charter for the college was issued.
Isothermal got its start in the Rutherford County Schools affiliated Industrial Education Center in Avondale, but several parcels of property totaling 102.78 acres were soon assembled and purchased for $40,000 by the end of that year. In early 1965, President Fred Eason and the college trustees enlisted the help of architect Leslie Boney to design the first set of buildings. The buildings consisted of the 28,000 square foot administration building, the 14,000 square foot library, and the 6,000 square foot continuing education building with its dual shop wings. Each wing is approximately 5,000 square feet each. The continuing education building is now the information technology building, the welding technology shop, and the machining technology shop. These buildings were put into service in 1968, and Isothermal Community College finally had a permanent home.
An infusion of $728,000 in state money from the Higher Education Facilities Act came in 1969. This led to the planning and construction of the Business Sciences Building and Auto Body Shop. Those buildings were completed in 1972, a year after the 3 temporary classroom buildings built by the Maintenance Department. Those buildings still remain in service today. In 1974, citizens voted again on a bond issue for Isothermal, this time for $1.8 million. In 1977, this funding was used to build the Vocational Education Building, now Applied Sciences and Technology. The Student Center, with its gymnasium and swimming pool, was completed in 1979 from those same funds. In the following 3 decades, several more facilities of note were constructed by the college. The Communications Building, the Polk Center, the Foundation Performing Arts and Conference Center, and the Lewis Lifelong Learning Center were constructed with a combination of state appropriations, private capital, and some county funds.
Each year, thousands of students have worked hard in Isothermal's buildings. They have worked hard to make their dreams a reality, to find new careers, and to improve their lives through learning. In 1964, Rutherford County citizens helped create a future with Isothermal Community College. That vision has served the county well for 50 years. Yet the ravages of time can age even the most well-constructed facilities. Now it's time to cast our eye toward the next 50 years and be strong for the future. To do so, our facilities must be in good repair, and we must build the facilities that will allow us to compete in the global economy.
Leonard asked that I go around and just do an assessment of everything here as far as facilities. And we've tried to do that this past fall. Met with them, I guess, toward the end of the year and showed them several pictures we'd found, which we'll look at some of them in a few minutes. But think about what you just saw. 1968, how long ago has that been now? 46 years. You've got basically 5 buildings that's been here 46 years. Think about your home being 46 years old. What have you went through with it in 46 years? Have you ever changed your heating system yet? Put a roof on it? Well, we're going to see some pictures of some things that's happened that probably should have been taken care of, but simply because of money, it didn't happen. And you're going to see some recurring things as we go through these slides. Now, the way we've sort of organized them is we begin with what's called Building 1, or the administration building. We didn't get on top of it because the hatch was locked and I didn't find a key for it. So I don't have a picture of that roof, but we can show you some of the problems with it. This is a classroom on the second floor, and we all know where stained ceiling tiles are caused by. Now, I'm still here as an adjunct instructor, and I'll have students come in when we have a heavy rain, and they've been to English or math on that second floor in the administration building, and they talk about 30-gallon trash cans sitting there catching water. But that building is in dire need of a roof right now. It also has a chemistry and a biology lab that look just like the ones I used when I graduated from high school in 1968. This is one of our innovative slides. This is part of the HVA system, and you've got the valve right here which is leaking. So our maintenance department, instead of shutting the building down and all, came up with a wonderful funnel to catch the drips as they come down, and pretty innovative. But that's part of age, folks. That's part of the age of these systems. This is a big indication of the problems with those systems. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning has come great strides in the last 20 years, mainly. What you see there is a ceiling tile that's indicating how much moisture is inside that system. That moisture is caused by faulty ductwork, caused by the system itself and the force of the air. But this whole system in administration needs to be replaced. The quality of air is not good. In a slide here, you'll see sort of what we're talking about. That's a dehumidifier. Why should I have a dehumidifier sitting in a building we're using? That's because the air quality is such that it's not good. More of our HVAC drainage. If you can't pick that up, they've actually run a pipe right here to take the water from here away because we've got another valve that's bad. So more of that innovative technology at work there. You can see the asbestos exposed. We've got people around that. That's part of our heating system in Building 1 once again. This is biology's on one side and chemistry's on the back side. But both of them in dire need of update. They're both hurting for space greatly. And we're sending students to senior colleges after taking biology and chemistry and using those labs, and I think a disservice to them. Building 2, which is part of that original 1968, is the library. This past fall, in case you don't know, the library heating and air system was completely updated. You can walk in this building now and it's just a completely different feel. In the process, they found where these problems are. They found holes in the floor down to the ground. Well, just think about you sitting at home, and if you had a hole in the floor to where the moisture out of the ground could come up into the building. That's not too good a situation. But that's the way it was constructed in 1968. We're a little more modern today, hopefully. But they went in, put new ductwork in, and asked Mr. Matheny if it's possible to tell what the energy savings are on this building. But it's not metered by itself, but they've actually put variable speed fans and all. And I would guess that he's going to save 40% probably on energy usage in that building in a year's time. You pay for systems pretty quick. One problem I did find with the library, now the roof on it's fairly new, is this is at a back corner where you actually go down a ramp to access the heating and air equipment, is a structural crack back there. It's been patched before, if you can see the patchwork going on in there, and once again it's opened up now. I think everybody that's on the facilities committee agreed that we probably need to get a structural engineer in here before long. The information technology building was another building in that 1968 group. It's been renovated. The roof on it's such that it needs coating about every 8 to 10 years, and that roof's ready for a recoating right now. Heating and air in that building look good. The air quality inside is good. Biggest problem with information technology is storage. They're in bad need of some storage. That's where all our extra computers are, the computers we take out of service. The machine shop's pretty good shape. Okay, 6, 7, 8, we did a major renovation to the welding shop. Both buildings have some small structural cracks that I've pointed out to Mr. Edwards, and he's going to keep an eye on them with some measurements. The canopy that was put on the welding shop actually has a space at the rear where water actually blows back under sometimes. It needs addressing. That water and all those electric welders don't mix too well. Business science is not just business science. That building encloses auto body as well as the shop for building construction technology is all under that one roof. They had a major HVAC problem in the fall, which they've changed one air handler, but you still have everything else original up there. But probably the biggest problem with building science is the roof. This is patchwork around one of your roof drains. This is your roof drain. This is on the auto body side. Once again, you see the patchwork here. And when I'm on campus and it rains, I can walk. This is right beside the paint booth in auto body. You need an umbrella if you're standing inside right there. That's how bad the water's coming in. It all deals with going and patching roofs. This is still on business science. This is where the two buildings join actually. The original building was built and then 77 the wing was put on, or 80 something. The wing running this way where the red room was put on, and the blue room was in the original building. That's where those two roofs join. This looks right good, doesn't it? But look at the roof on the old part. That's lacking some. Kim Alexander told me one day that they had to get umbrellas out in her office during one of the rains. This is a wall in the auto body shop. That's not bad paint. That's where the waterfall happened in July. It rained so hard that this whole wall was just a waterfall. So we're dealing with some serious, and water by far is the worst thing that can happen to a building. We need to get these closed. There's you can't see it good from the photo that was there. There's a big structural crack in that corner, and what happens is that water enters that building in the wintertime. You get the freeze-thaw cycle. And what's happening to our structure during that freeze-thaw cycle? Expand, contract, expand, contract. So what happens to our concrete block and anything else up there? You leave it alone, before long you're going to look at a wall ready to fall. So it's something we're going to have to address. This particular photo, this is building construction down here. This is business science building here. This is how water pours off on that roof. You can see how the gravel gets pushed back right here from the water pouring down. Not a good situation. Have you been around the outside of business science in a while? Some of this you can see as you drive in if you look real hard. This is what's called the soffit on the building. It goes under your overhangs. It's caused by that roof leaking. It's just deteriorating that soffit and it's hanging down. And if you walk around the building, it's just about that way all the way around the building. And I think Rick has actually went back and put some plywood in places and taken the worst of it down. But that building is accessible to a lot of our businesses. The red room, the blue room are used a lot. And that doesn't paint a picture of us very well, I don't think, when those folks come in. So, we need some money somewhere to fix that. And where, I don't know. Now, this is the love of my love of the college right here. I have actually used this building for 7 years now for my classroom. That is a 42-year-old temporary building. They sag, the roofs are popping up here and there. The door is nowhere close to handicap accessible. The bathroom, forget it. Folks, we need to do away with those buildings. It's hard to bring a student in here. Welding uses them as well as building construction. But when you show a student that's your classroom space, and don't set them on fire too much. It's just not good. We need to get rid of them and find somewhere to have class till we can do something different. Student Center is probably where my big concern on campus is. If you look, this is a new type roof, but I want you to look real close down this wall. You see that how it's sitting back just a minute amount? You're going to see another picture in a minute. Now that building actually has a newer roof on the back half. The front half over the student commons and the cafe and the bookstore is still an old roof, and it's in pretty terrible shape. Sort of evidence of how old and how bad it is. This is the front corner at the new parking lot. Communication building would be over here. You can see all the insulation exposed. Water can go in anywhere right here. It's something that's past its time. That is the back wall of the swimming pool building, Now what you're seeing, this is not part of the problem. You see the mortar breaking here? You see another line breaking up there? And we've got a slide, I hope the next one, that'll show you what's going on. That's actually exposed reinforcement wire. That's what helps hold that wire together. It holds the wall to the building. There's even pieces up there where it's broken and sticking out. This is where I would advise you to hire a structural engineer. He needs to look at that building. And one looked at it in '08, I think. I don't think he really investigated anything in detail at all. But I think it's time somebody looked. We don't want to put people up there and something happened to that building that would cause harm to somebody. That's a pretty good structural crack in a facility. There's structural cracks back inside the building on that back wall, especially in the mechanical room toward the communication building. This is still part of the same structure. And you can see once again my caulking laying right in here. See how much that wall's moved? Folks, that's a brick nearly. That's 3.5, 4 inches that wall's moved. The caulking's out here on the edge where it was at once upon a time. But all of it's that same roof. And it worries me about what movement's going on in there. Something's moving. I don't know what. If you walk up around that side to that new parking lot and you'll look up at that high wall, you can see the squirrels go in and out of there too. It's that evident from that parking lot. But there's something moving when that happens. This is another picture of the roof on the old part. That's just one of them that needs doing. Now this is an inside picture of the Applied Sciences building. That roof basically is in fair shape. There is a problem with it. This is up on top of Applied Science. You can see where water gets in. That standpipe is actually right in the same area those ceiling tiles were at. This is above the area, and you can see the darkness in the roof here and here and in here. That's an indication of the moisture under the roof. So we're getting some moisture under the roof in that particular area. So you're above where the nurses used to be is where that area is in the building, if you're familiar with that. It'd be on the east side of the building. Look at the holes in your roof. The moisture inside the building definitely can cause mold. Leonard, I didn't see any big evidences of mold anywhere, but I didn't open any walls to look inside them either. So definitely could be causing mold. There's a lot of moisture in that building again, just like you saw in the admin building with the dehumidifiers. When you have to run those, you've got the ideal conditions for mold to grow. The air quality in that building is pretty terrible too, simply because of HVAC. You can see how the roof has actually moved some, where it's picked up the actual decking material and just wadded it up like a sheet or something on a bed. That's the corner toward the parking lot on ICC Loop Road. See the crack right in here? Just wonderful places for water to get in, little holes everywhere. That's about dead center of the buildings where that one is. It's like down the center of that building there's something stretching that roof each way. And it's terrible. That roof is about as bad as Business Sciences roof. More innovative HVAC work in that building. I mean, you're talking about old systems. They don't run forever. Foundation, what, 14 years old now? There's some problems developing over there. It's not from a lack of maintenance, I don't think so much. There's several areas that will need attention. This is actually the steps. If you were going to come out of that building and you lean against that handrail, it's probably you and it both are going to go to the ground. Whenever it was built, evidently it wasn't caulked very well at the top, and water has intruded in there, and that freeze-thaw cycle has just popped the concrete off the side of it. That's the cracks on the top side. Now, you can't take a building and not make it leak. Now, when I looked, there were some places back down the hall that you could see stained ceiling tiles, just evidence of a little leak somewhere. You never take a building this side and not leak. Now, I wanted to end with these two to sort of hit the HVAC part. This is what's helping cool and heat the Student Center. See the nice insulation that's gone? And the next one is the chillers. That reminds me of some nuclear plant 30 years ago. But that's what we're using every day. Now that was a very quick slideshow on what I found.
We do have the services of Blue Ridge Community College that they do health and safety advising and services for the community college system. They're contracted on a state level. And so we periodically have them come down, check the air quality, and make sure it's safe. And we do document that and keep it on hand in the maintenance department.
From the energy you start with here to the cooling or heating we get here is about 30% of what we invested. That's not good. I would say the library is switched the other way now. You're getting 70% of that investment instead of 30%. You go up on these roofs to fix them. Well, every time you walk on these roofs, there's screws under there. You walk, you just created a new leak in 2 or 3 months. So patching's tough on a roof like these.
What's the implication of these being flat roofs to begin with?
Pat, these are hard to put a pitched roof on simply because of the width of these buildings. They're actually pitched to some degree to go to those drains, but to put like a roof at RS Central on it, you'd have to change the whole structure of the building. And I don't know if the walls would hold the load that would be imposed upon it. And that would be a tremendous, tremendous cost to go to there.
Well, I guess I was thinking in hindsight, would anybody build a building like this again?
They still do today.
Flat.
We built the lifelong learning.
Well, it is, that's
Yeah.
true.
But
And it's, it's up, there's, the wall up there's probably 3.5 feet. And so you have room in there for your on-roof structures, but to also build the insulation to keep you fall.
well, actually too, when they just re-roofed the machine shop and the welding shop, they can take their insulation now and do more pitch on it and run that water to those drains so you don't get so much.
Flat roofs now are pitched.
To somewhat they are. Well, look at the Lewis Learning Center and you'll see the pitch on that roof where you may not on one of these others. It's got a big parapet wall around the top that hides that pitch. But from down this side, you can see it pretty good.
So these theoretically could be repaired with a pitch?
When they're repaired, they'll do it with insulation under the roof deck, not the deck, but under the roof membrane.
Chester, you mentioned the structural engineer. Do we need to get the structural engineer to look at these before we start talking about it's actually $10 million, because it actually might be more?
John, the roofs, I don't think so. I think the only place that I would really say you need to get a structural engineer is on the student center, gym, pool. That building worries me some. I don't think there's an immediate alarm, but if it's let go another 5 years, there may be. It needs to be addressed. I looked at the pictures from 2008, and the crack on the end toward cosmetology coming down the wall appears to me to be about 3 times worse than it was when he was here then. His photos weren't good, but the crack appears to enlarge considerably. So, as far as roofs, no. You know, they'll take what's up there off, and you'll have a metal decking under it. The way they've leaked, I wouldn't be surprised you'd have to change 50% of that metal decking when you put a new roof on.
We need capital monies to make sure that our facilities don't deteriorate anymore.